So this is a slightly different type of video than I usually do, but I felt like at least attempting doing one of these. So it's totally just a fan theory thing on an episode of the Monkees, actually the first one, not the pilot, the technical episode 1, Royal Flush, on Princess Bettina and potentially her backstory, potentially where is this fictional land of Harmonica, where would it be in the real world if it were to actually exist. I think there might have actually been enough clues in the episode, limited though they may be, to actually figure it out. Frankly, yeah, I know, they didn't design shows in the 60s to have people dig this in depth for stuff, but I think I might be able to. Just maybe. Again, it's a fan theory, there's no way of proving it for certain one way or the other, and it's my fan theory, you might have another one, but this is mine. So, first off, before we get to where is the fictional land of Harmonica, let's look at the very limited clues they gave us. We obviously know the names of Bettina, Otto, and Sigmund. We know that Bettina is referred to both as the Princess and the Duchess of Harmonica. Otto is the Archduke. He has diplomatic immunity. He's also acting as the regent. Let's see, what else was there? Sigmund's obviously the bodyguard. Bettina will become the queen on her 18th birthday. There's an embassy of Harmonica. There's a birthday ball being held for her. And there's a coronation. Those are the only hints we are given this whole episode as to anything referring to Bettina. It's not much. And I think the biggest clues we're given are hidden in plain sight. The names, the selection of their names, if you look at them, actually give away a lot, and possibly the writers picked them very intentionally. It's probably more likely just coincidental, but, Bettina technically, originally, was a Greek name when it was first invented, but its modern-day usage is almost exclusively German and occasionally Italian. Otto's name is German. Sigmund's name is German. So this gives us at least a cornerstone of where to zero in our search. Right there. It looks like it's intentionally Germanic in nature. But it goes further than just that. The meanings of the names also line up. Bettina means oath of God, and usually with royalty, there's the whole sovereignty thing, and they act as though they have been picked by God, so it would make sense that that would be sort of a name used here for this princess. Otto's name means wealth and fortune. But more interestingly than that, there actually was someone in the German monarchy named Otto. Sigmund's name means victorious defender, and as a bodyguard, it's got defender right there in the name. So that gives us a few clues right there that things were picked intentionally, possibly. Now, zeroing in from that, since we know that it must either be Germany or possibly like a subset of Germany, like a county or a province, or maybe even an outlier of Germany, now we have a starting point for where Harmonica might actually exist, and what type of monarchy, what type of government this place has, because everything is pointing to some type of a monarchy, because if there's a duchess, the only types of government that have dukes and duchesses are monarchies. However, if you look at what the modern day government type of Germany is, it's not a monarchy. Let me bring it back up real quick. Depending which site you look at, some claim that it's a constitutional constitutional republic. Some claim that it's a parliamentary democracy. Some say federal republic, representative democracy, parliamentary republic. There's a few different answers, but none of them are monarchy. But if you go back a little ways, there was a German monarchy up until 1918, at which point the last emperor of Germany abdicated. But, and this is where it gets tricky, there actually have been some pretender monarchs since then that they still insist on using the titles, but there's really nothing behind them other than their self-appointed titles here. If you go to the Wikipedia page for German monarchy, there's a list, but the last true monarch in Germany was 1918, is when he abdicated. So, alright. It's not Germany in and of itself, then. But, unless it's one of the pretenders, if this were a pretender, it would kind of make sense. But I think it goes further than that. Because there's also something called a duchy. Now, the duchy has nothing to do with the Dutch, but the literal definition is, a duchy is a country, territory, fief, or domain ruled by a duke or duchess. The term is used almost exclusively in Europe, where in present day there is no sovereign duchy, an example, with the status of a nation-state left. But in the 60s, there might have been. Actually, the last, it has a list here. Where is it? Yeah, the only Grand Duchy still existing as a sovereign nation is the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, which is in Germany. But there apparently is a bunch of German duchies out there, so this kind of keeps aligning with the German thing, doesn't it? It also lists here, where is it? In common European cultural heritage, a Grand Duke is the third highest monarch rank after Emperor and King. Its synonym in many Eastern European languages, Russian, Lithuanian, etc., is translated as Grand Prince, whereas most Western German or European languages, English, French, Spanish, Italian, etc., use expressions corresponding to Grand Duke. Unlike a duke, sovereign Grand Duke is considered royalty, or in German, royal nobility. The proper form of address for a Grand Duke is His Royal Highness, whereas for a non-royal duke in the United Kingdom, it's His Grace. In contrast to this, the rank of a duke differs from one country to the next, and here's where it zeroes in a bit. In Germany, for example, a duke is listed in the aristocratic hierarchy below an emperor, king, Grand Duke, elector, and sovereign prince in that order. So, since we know, for a fact, canonical to the episode, that Otto is the Archduke, that gives us a point of reference here. Especially if we're going with German, it makes sense, because if Bettina is becoming the Duchess as of midnight on her 18th birthday, and Otto is acting as the regent. And a regent, for those who aren't that well acquainted with it, a regent acts in place of the nobility, be it a duke or duchess, be it king, queen, what have you. They act in place for until the person who is meant to have that position turns 18, or if it's an older one that had been in position is indispensed due to illness or any other such thing, a regent is often in position to take over for them until they can resume that position. But in this case, it's until Bettina turns 18. So, interesting, isn't it? So, this kind of all lines up, but with the, where is it? The hierarchy. For this, it does make sense, though, because if she's the next in line to be in charge, that still lines up, because if it's a duchy, and they're top of the heap here, and there's no king or queen ahead of her, there's no emperor or anything else, she's next in line, this could align with possibly what her backstory might be, which is probably a pretty tragic one. But I'll get to that in a minute. I'm also reminded of, on Davy Jones's show he had in the early 2000s, the hierarchy little thing that he had for the order that they go in. First comes Duke, mostly royal, next comes Viscount, then comes Earl, then comes Count, finally Baron, by this time we're hardly Karen. Yes, I actually paid attention and remembered that since 2003. Because I am a nerd. But it does make sense that if they're head of the line, either This either has to be a monarchy or a duchy. It's one of those two things. Which one? We're not quite positive, but depending, is it part of Germany? Is it an outlier of Germany? We don't know for sure, but I've zeroed it in. There's gotta be one of those two. Either way, it is a type of a monarchy. She's next in line right now. He's in power and he wants to stay in power. But that lends itself to an interesting question. Where are her parents? And if he's the Archduke, this kind of lends itself to believing that if she's next in line, and it's her uncle, no less. It was probably her father that was in charge before, be he a king, be he another duke, what have you, he was probably in charge first, and something happened to him. We know that Otto is trying to kill Bettina, and he's very nonchalant about it. He even owns right up when she calls him on it. This is not his first rodeo. This is not the first time he's killed, so that tells us he probably killed her father, possibly even her mother. If she had any siblings, probably killed them. She's really a tragic figure, if you think about it. But yeah, so what tells me that it may be an outlier of Germany and not its own little subset is that it has an embassy, and embassies are for countries. So it might not be Germany itself, but it might be a teeny tiny little fictional country that doesn't quite actually exist in real life that's right there, right outside of Germany, possibly. Just saying. So, and a coronation also lends itself to believing that it is a sovereign type monarchy. Because those, if they don't believe in the sovereignty, there's a different title they use for it. I believe it's enthronement if it's not sovereign. So that tells us that it is a sovereign one. Like I said, there's actually more clues here than you realize when you go digging for this information. But from what I can glean, this is my fan theory, is that they're either German or right outside of Germany. Also, their physical appearances even kind of line up with German stereotypes. The fair features and fair-colored hair and eyes for Bettina. The accent doesn't quite line up, but I don't think they really expected anybody to go digging, so they didn't go that far out of their way to cast accurately, because it sounds like she has some type of a British accent. But Otto and Sigmund, on the other hand, theirs are more German sounding, so this still all lines up. But yeah, so I think Harmonica is, in fact, supposed to be its own country. Especially since Davy goes calling an operator of a phone, asking for the country of Harmonica, and they don't believe him that it's one either. That's the only thing that makes me wonder if, even in that fictional universe, is it possibly not technically a country, but they treat it as such, and it's just like a smaller portion of Germany inside its borders, but they treat it like one because they're in charge of it? We don't know. But it does make you wonder. But I told you my theory on her backstory. That's my theory there. It is very sad. It would also make sense for her personality of why she's kind of cold, kind of distant. I mean, if somebody bumped off your family, you'd probably be cold and distant too, and your only remaining relative is trying to kill you. You know, probably wouldn't leave you feeling too trusting of most people. So, yeah, this is my theory. Feel free to dispute it if you like, but this is what I've been able to pull together as possibly where this fictional country of Harmonica is, the type of government they have, and what Bettina's backstory is. Since we have no further clues than those, that's as far as I could dig. But I thought maybe someone else out there might find it interesting, since I found it interesting enough to dig into. But I'm sure I'm probably not the only fan ever to have wondered where exactly this fictional country might have feasibly existed, so figured I'd share what I pulled together on this. So anyway, as usual, if you like this video, click the like button. If you're not already and you'd like to be, click subscribe, leave comments down below, and until next time, bye! By the way, bonus fun fact that is not part of the theory, that is just kind of creepy, that I did not even know till I went to go make the thumbnail just now and was looking for a picture of Bettina to use in it. Apparently, Weirdly enough, given the whole plot premise of this episode is her uncle trying to kill her, the actress who played Bettina, just like 3 or 4 years after that episode was filmed, was found murdered in her apartment, and the case was never solved. They never figured out who did it. Which, like I said, not part of the theory, just a really creepy trivia factoid I just found out that I had no idea about till just now that I thought maybe might be kind of interesting to you guys. So, not only is Bettina's backstory potentially tragic in the canonical world, apparently the real-life actress ended quite tragically too. That's depressing. Okay, going for real now. Bye.